everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Coffee on the Coast. Today on the show, we've got some really, really awesome, I would say, doppelgangers almost of the show in Two Rivers. Darla LeClaire and Todd Nielsen. Is it Nielsen?
Nielsen, yes.
Nielsen,
yes.
I pronounced it right. Like the songwriter.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
They have a wonderful show that you can watch. It's called TR Talks. And I was on the show a few weeks back. So we're just trading back and forth, trying to promote all of Manitowoc County at once. It's hard to do. So these guys are doing it in Two Rivers. We're trying to help out in Manitowoc. Together we make the community stronger. So how you doing, guys?
Really good.
Great.
Thank you
Good
for
to see
having
you.
us.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love the way you wipe off your hand before you.
Well, you know, I'm a gentleman.
That was great. So let's talk about TR Talks. When did you guys start that?
You know, we've done about 10 episodes now.
10 episodes.
So we started last year, and
It's been about 6 months now
yeah.
that we first started. And
The idea behind it was that we didn't see a lot of promotions around things just around the city of Two Rivers, and both of us being residents there, we saw all of the potential and a lot of interesting things happening in the community. We wanted a way to maybe put a megaphone around some of those great developments for the business and for the arts community and for just events around the city, and to talk about Two Rivers is a great place to live and work and play.
Yeah.
So
as it is,
yeah.
as it is.
Yeah.
So you're a recent implant.
Yeah,
Or,
within 2 years. Yeah.
2 years in Two Rivers, and you moved here because it's an awesome place to live, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So trying to spread that to other people and get more people, professional people and stuff in the community to help with the development. That's a great thing. And you've been here for a while. You've
I've been here
I say here, we're actually in Manitowoc. We're talking about Two Rivers. So.
right. I moved to Two Rivers in 1990 to work for Paragon Electric. I moved up from Indiana for the job because my product line from United Technologies was sold. And I got a phone call. I was like, do you want to move with your product? And I was like, yeah. So I came on up. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I moved up in 1990. I thought that I'm prior service, so I was used to moving around and living in one place for like a year, maybe two. And I thought I would only be in Wisconsin for 2-3 years tops. But I've been here. I met my current husband my very first day of work at Paragon and said, I'm going to get me some of that. And a year later, we were married. So,
nice. Wow.
Yeah. So we have 2 children who are grown, and I have no desire to leave and no plans to leave. I love Two Rivers, and I love Manitowoc County.
So let's talk about some of the great things that are happening in Two Rivers. I know, Todd, that you are involved with BizSmarts.
BizStarts.
BizStarts.
Yeah.
God darn it.
That's okay.
BizStarts. I'm so sorry.
Sure. Just a quick commercial about that. So Two Rivers BizStarts is an organization that my wife and I started up through the Leicester Public Library last year. It's been going for about a year now.
Yeah.
Really, we started up, I think, last May or June, something like that. And the purpose of that particular group is to help support and foster entrepreneurs within Two Rivers and within the region around here. So there's a lot of great things happening entrepreneurially in Sheboygan and Green Bay, over in Appleton, and I wanted to connect what we're doing here to the region a little bit more. And so I started the group. I worked with Dan Steininger, who's the head, the CEO of BizStarts down in Milwaukee, which is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and said, look, I had this idea. I'd really like to do sort of a remote outpost for what you're doing, because they're very focused on small startup businesses, not necessarily like fast growth Gazelle internet company apps from Silicon Valley, but like, hey, I want to start a flower shop, or I'm looking to start a dry cleaning business or a cleaning service, or like really down to earth businesses that employ people in the region. And it's because I've always very strongly believed that it's not about like a big manufacturer coming in and revitalizing an area. It's about the people that live here doing things to support and bolster an economy. Right. And so and some of those businesses can grow to be quite large. And ideally we want them to be about 100, 200 people. That's what sustains a region and gives it character and voice. And really what made the area, but I mean Two Rivers. Thinking about the history of that city and sort of being, the origination of commercial fishing practices, like all the businesses that started up. Hamilton is a great success story. That was entrepreneurs that were
Yep.
doing that, and they started it here and they grew it. And when some of those big organizations went away, they really needed, I think people needed to be reminded of that core of what's already inherent in the character of the people living here.
Right.
So I got excited when I moved into the area because I lived in Milwaukee for 20 years. I felt within like weeks so much more connected to Two Rivers and to Manitowoc County than I have from all those years in Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee, don't get me wrong, and we lived downtown, it was great. But there's just so much here, and people are so open, and they really want to get connected and do something special for the community.
That's very cool. So if somebody has an entrepreneur has an idea, like I want to start a flower shop, they give you a call. How does it work?
Yeah, so we have a monthly meeting. It's usually the third or fourth Wednesday of every month, and we usually have a special topic around getting your business started, getting it off the ground. Anybody who comes, can talk about their business concept, what they want to do, what kind of resources or issues they're facing, what they might like to do.
Sure.
And then everybody else is in the room can offer their ideas and support around that.
That is great.
And we've had ideas. We've had people like Eric Pangburn, who runs the law practice in Two Rivers from Weston Dunn, talking about, we're not getting paid for that, to talk about sort of what are the considerations for the legal startup business. Like, do you do an LLC? Do you do an S corp? Do you do a sole proprietorship? Like, what's advisable? And so he came in and gave like an hour talk on, what are the ins and outs of that. We've had people that have come in and talked about concepting for your business. Like, how do you get to the why of your business? Why does your business exist? Why are you doing it? What's important to you about it? And then kind of thinking about the how, and so the Simon Sinek TED Talk, if anybody sees something like that, sort of understanding how does it align with your values? Why is it important to you? So just challenging people, helping them to think about starting a business, helping them to get more realistic about their ideas, because I think a lot of people, if they're sort of in their own little world and thinking about starting a business out of their garage, you forget things. You don't necessarily think of all the things you need to think about. And so having a bigger group to support that is important. And I should say, we're not there to be a substitute for, say, Progress Lakeshore or the Chamber of Commerce or TRBA or any of those organizations. We really kind of see ourselves positioned as a concierge to kind of help people ask their questions, because the library is really a center of community in Two Rivers. So people can come there, ask their questions, get pointed to the right resources so that they can get their business off the ground.
Super cool idea. It takes a community, and it's really hard. Being an entrepreneur, I can speak of this. Sometimes it's very hard because you feel like you're on an island. Yeah. You feel like you're alone, and boy, nobody's supporting me, and I'm trying to bootstrap this business.
Yep.
But when you get connected like that, and I've gotten connected with a few business mentors that have really helped me, so that's a really cool thing. So Two Rivers, welcoming business with Biz Starts, and also thinking about Two Rivers as a whole and kind of the community and its image. There's stuff going on with community branding now with Two Rivers. Can you speak to that?
Certainly. It was back in November, I think, November-ish of last year, when we first created the committee for rebranding and marketing efforts. And it's all volunteer, of course, but the people that we have on this committee we have members of the community, as well as people who there was myself and Kurt Andrews, who is on the city council, but he has a marketing background. Mm-hmm. And you have Todd.
He was like the former VP of marketing for Blockbuster. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Back in the day, so yeah.
you have this experience, and we've got Todd, we have Michael Dittmer, we have different people who are on it with experience and actually understand the whole process of branding and marketing, and which is tremendous, because then you have people like me who have got the passion, but I don't have the experience. We also have Stephanie Carpenter from Hamilton Woodtype Museum, and with a lot of fantastic ideas and great input, and we have others too. And I think it's a very well-rounded group. There's the experience in there. There's people who are thinking outside the box, because we don't know any other way to think when it comes to this.
Right.
And so it's a very good blend. And now, Todd, you can speak more to what we're doing with the calendar right now, because you're more involved on that than I am.
Yeah, so I mean, I think what's important to note with this is, we recognize there's efforts going on at the county level around Vision 22 and efforts to do some branding, here locally in Manitowoc. But for Two Rivers, it was sort of understanding, what's our story and how do we fit into the larger picture. So let's look at that first, and then, get our house in order, and then start engaging with the broader community
Right.
around that. And so that's been part of what's been behind all of this. But Darla's right, we have an amazing group of people that are involved with it. One of the first things that's going to come out as a result of these efforts, and it's going to be exploratory to begin with, but we have an immediate and practical need to get an events website up that collects all of the events from the different departments and different organizations and nonprofits around the city to get everything into a single calendar technology solution. So we just kicked off that project literally today. That's where I came from, to start understanding all the different groups, what are all the different categories of events, what kind of technology are we going to use to support that, and how will people submit information. If you're, eventually we'd hope, like, maybe if you're a business owner, maybe you can submit an event. But if you're part of Two Rivers Main Street, your event will be on your calendar, but it'll also appear on this central calendar that'll be something like Destination Two Rivers, or like a site to collect that. And so, what's really important with all of that is that, operationally, that we've got somebody that's in charge of that and owns it, because if you can have a great site, but if nobody keeps it up to date,
Right.
there's a problem. So we're really kind of addressing some of those concerns, like how do we handle it from the back end and make sure that everything's put in place. But we're really excited about it, because I think that it's a way to start telling the city's story and start to take some of the messages that we've developed that are still in a draft form,
Right.
Yeah.
and are going to continue to develop over the next year or so as we kind of get closer to the mark here. But to start testing some of those messages about, like, why people like to live here, why they like to work here.
Sure.
What are the stories about your proudest day of being
Yeah.
somebody who lives in the city of Two Rivers? So that's going to be what the site's going to reflect.
Right.
Wow, that
Yeah.
sounds like a great idea.
And I know, like, with the calendar, well, when I'm prepping the script for our Two Rivers Talks, it can take me a couple days. I'm doing it while I'm at the gallery, so I get distracted. But the thing is that I have to go, because we have a calendar of events. What we're trying to do with Two Rivers Talks, or TR Talks, is to let everyone in the community and outside the community, like people who used to live here, who still want to feel connected and know what's happening in the community. Like, in the next 2 weeks, here's some events that are happening. There is no one place to go and get all this info. So I end up going to multiple Facebook pages and websites and try, and go on the news, like HTR or Seehafer, and see what's happening in our area, so that we have a cohesive script and we've got the information. So I know once this calendar is done and it's up and running, my job is going to be way easier, and I'll know what the heck's going on
Maybe
without having to search.
We won't have to do an exhaustive rundown of all the events.
Right,
Kind of shorten
right.
that segment a little bit,
Just,
and like really
just go to
focus
the
on some cool
website.
stuff.
There,
Right.
done.
Boom, it's done.
So, Darla, what's happening in Two Rivers? This summer, coming up in the next couple of months, what's going on in the town?
Well, now that spring is finally sprung, thank you very much, and we have decent weather, now we're getting into the season in Two Rivers where our events are going to start happening. And people are, I'm sure, familiar with the car show. That'll be coming up pretty well. What month is that in? That's a little
June?
bit.
Or-
Yeah, it's a little bit later in the season, but that's going to be happening. We have that to look forward to.
Ton of more stuff that's going on this summer too, like
Yeah.
the Ethnic Fest, which is always a huge event.
Right.
We've got the
The
Pro-Am
kites.
volleyball
Yes.
tournament is coming,
Yes.
which is going to be major.
We also have soccer on the beach. That's
Yep.
that's new, and
and Kite Fest, of course. and,
Kite Fest. That's why we need a calendar, so that
do.
people
There you go.
can just go
There
to
you go.
one place and then they
Yeah.
can see everything that's happening. But we do have a lot of different things. I know that we're going to be utilizing the pavilion on Neshota Beach more this year with bands, and of course that is you can rent the pavilion. I know we've had weddings there.
Mm-hmm.
There's just just check out Two Rivers because we do have a lot to offer.
Yeah, and Manitowoc people, if you haven't seen that new pavilion, it's very cool.
Yeah.
I love
Nice.
the design of stuff, obviously. So I love
Right.
how cool it looks on the beach, and yeah, that would be great to see a band there. Actually,
And in fact, we actually held, and I'll give a quick plug for this, so as part of one of the things we're doing for Two Rivers Biz Starts is we're working in partnership with Jeff Soxie of Raleigh Point Economic Consulting, and he is doing the Light Up the Lakeshore
Yes.
Business Idea Competition. Well, we did the first one of those last year, and it was Light Up the Lakeshore Business Competition, business pitch on the beach,
very cool.
which was a ton of fun. It was kind of a not great weather day for it, but it was still neat. And we had, I think there were about 9 or 10 pitches that came out of that, and people got cash prizes for their business ideas to bring them out. And we had a number of students that came down from UW
Right.
Green Bay that competed in that. Would have liked to have seen a few more people from Two Rivers show
Yeah.
up,
Right.
but we're working on that, or from
Sure.
Manitowoc show up, and I think that'd be great. But
so let's talk real quick. Let's wrap it up and talk about TR Talks. Where can people view the program and get updates? Because I'm sure when the events site is ready, you're going to plug that on TR Talks and other events like the car show, the Kite Fest, and when those come up, where can people plug into the show?
yeah, so a couple places. We have a Facebook page, TR Talks, and if you go out there, we put up a new show about every
It's about every 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, not on. That's about as regular a schedule as we
Right.
get. We try to get out the regular set of announcements, and we announce events out for a couple of weeks.
Sure.
So that people can check that out. We usually, with each one of the shows, there's a guest and a musical guest, and then we kind of go through the events. that are there.
Or an
So,
artist.
Yeah, so the Facebook page,
Yeah.
we've got a YouTube channel. Of course, you can follow us out there on that and get updated on the very latest as soon as it comes out, and then our individual social media accounts.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
local
And
media.
we'll link those. I'll link the YouTube account and stuff in the description of this video. So when you're done watching this video, you can just go click on their stuff and watch some of their content as
Awesome.
well. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. This
So
is great.
awesome, and
Thanks,
such a pleasure to see you again and have you
Likewise.
on the show.